people, let's have a conversation talking about Jada Pinkett Smith and her admission to having a relationship with August Alsina. Now, I just did an episode talking about this situation, and I made it clear that I believed August and that he did have some sort of situationship with Jada Pinkett Smith. And I also made it clear that I didn't believe that Will Smith gave him his stamp of approval on this happening. But she has come out and she has admitted that during a separation from Will, she had this relationship with August Alsina. And she did it during an episode of her Red Table Talk on Facebook Watch. Now, she said that the statement that came from her reps wasn't directly from her. And her husband, Will Smith, he, said the same thing. And that he never released a personal statement either. Now, to be clear, she's calling this an entanglement with August Alsina, but she's also saying that this happened during a separation period in her marriage. And as for Will Smith granting August permission to get down with Jada, he said that that definitely was not the case. And that is exactly what I said in my previous episode talking about what he admitted to in this situation with Jada Pinkett Smith. He said that Will Smith gave him permission. He sat down and he talked with Will, and he was saying how their relationship was transitioning from a relationship to some sort of arrangement. It was more business-like. And I said in my previous episode that I don't believe that Will Smith actually came out and said, yeah, you go ahead and do your thing. You can go back and listen to my previous episode. I'll put a link to that in the description box. But I said I don't believe that he granted August or Jada permission to do the do, because even if a man is unfaithful, it is very rare that the man is just going to be okay with something like this happening, because a lot of times egos get involved and it's just a lot of other things feelings wise that gets mixed up in this, what she calls entanglement. But let's be clear, this wasn't just an entanglement. She has sex with this kid, and I call him a kid even though he is in his 20s. He's not under 21, he's not under 18, and even in some states some consider 16 to be the age of consent or whatever. This guy came in as a friend of her son, Jaden. So for her to be in a what she calls entanglement with this guy, this is so wrong. Now, Will was there when she was admitting this, and he basically came out and said that he was done with Jada. Like, they were going through some issues in their marriage and he was done with her. Now, Will, he on the Red Table Talk came out and asked Jada to explain exactly what happened, like make it clear. So to quote, she said, "I got into an entanglement with August. A relationship? It was a relationship. Absolutely. I was in a lot of pain. I was broken. And in the process of that relationship, I definitely realized that you can't find happiness outside of yourself. And luckily enough, you and I were also going through a process of healing in a much different manner. It had been so long since I felt good." And she also said that it was a joy to help somebody heal. And I'm sorry, guys, that I'm laughing when I read this, but I'm sorry. like, sexual healing is what you were giving this kid. Like, I'm sorry, that is not therapy. That is not, when you go to a therapist, when you go to see a therapist and they have that couch in that office, that is not what that couch is made for, okay? The patient or the client may be reclining on that couch. I've been in for therapy before, and honestly, it's a little bit uncomfortable to be in this cold office across from somebody that you don't really know. This couch is there. You see this on television shows sometimes, and you see the person reclining and lying down on their back on the sofa. And they always say, you don't have to lie down on this, but if you feel that it helps you to relieve and to release what is within you and to talk and to share so that you feel more comfortable, feel free. But a lot of people just sit down on the sofa. So for her to say to help somebody else, it was a joy to help heal somebody. Jada, I'm sorry, you're not a therapist, sweetheart. Now, a lot of people, they're calling this infidelity, but Jada, she doesn't think so. She says, I was really able to do some really deep healing. I let that be and hadn't talked to him since. So it is a little weird. All this stuff is coming out now since this was several years ago. So Will says our experiences of working through it, fighting through it, talking through it, and therapizing through it, I think that why now is weird. So this is the thing for August Alsina, you know, you're talking about, Will is saying that Jada, she and him, they went through therapy, they talked through it, they fought through it, they therapized, the word that he used, new phrase, therapizing, but they went through therapy, for all of the issues that they were having in their marriage. So for him to say, I think why now is weird. Well, obviously, August Alsina, he did this interview with Angela Yee. He was talking about a new project that he has out or is coming out. Angela Yee asked him some questions and he responded and he was very honest. So it's his story still to tell. It's his issues still to be able to go through and to process. So Will can't really have the judgment call on when August decides or if he decides to release and share anything, because it's his story too, and he has the right to share it however he pleases, even if unfortunately it may be embarrassing or it may be something that they don't want to shed light on or they don't want to be out there in the public eye, because it obviously is embarrassing. Because no, August Alsina is not underage, but this was somebody who was a friend of her son's, and that, or for son, I shall say, not sons, but this is really crazy. And so even though she admitted to it and apparently it's over with, it was wrong. It never should have happened. Now, they both were talking about their relationship a little bit, and this wasn't a long episode. And, they said that they're both continuing to work on it and that they still surprise each other. Now, this is true because I can say, as someone who has been married for over 20 years, marriage is a lot of hard work. And I'll talk about more of that on my iTunes podcast, but it's a lot of work. But it's not to say that it has to be weird. And a lot of the stuff that has come out about their relationship really is weird, because relationships and marriages, even though they are hard, they shouldn't be complicated. And when I say hard, it's just that you have two people who are different creatures coming together to become one. So that can be very hard, and sometimes that stuff, it's eternal until the day one of you dies, because you're still learning each other, you're still growing together. You have your moments where you piss each other off, and you have your moments that you love each other so much. That is what a relationship, and especially a marriage, entails. But to work it out on a young dude because you felt whatever, I'm sorry. And it would be wrong too if Will Smith was doing the same thing. Now, it has been rumored that he has a girlfriend, a much younger girlfriend as well. So that hasn't come out yet. We'll see if more is exposed, because she didn't mention anything about him being in another relationship with anyone else, but I don't believe that she is the only guilty party. I just don't. But like I said in my previous episode, I didn't believe that August Alsina had Will Smith's blessing to bless his wife with the, with the ding dong. I don't. But it's happened. Jada has finally admitted to it, and we, for the most part, all of us knew, we had a feeling that he was being honest, that he was being, forthright in his admission, and that Jada wasn't with that blanketed rep statement about, this is completely untrue. Like, no, it's true. It's true. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments section about all of this. It is insane, but I'm not surprised. So thank you so much for joining me for this podversation. This is the Minister of Beauty. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast by clicking the links in the description box and liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And I share the Bible. That's business, inspiration, beauty, life, and enjoyment. This is definitely a crazy life topic right now, but I thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. And until the next episode, have an amazingly blessed and beautiful day.